matter how much attention you give towards studying and analyzing people, you can never really understand them and their behavior. We know not to judge by appearances, but even after careful analysis of people and the behaviors they exhibit, we might still be so far away from analyzing their characters properly. It is said that the first impressions are lasting impressions, and based on this belief, we rely on the personality judgments we make immediately after meeting someone for the first time. Whether you are looking to start a business with someone, date someone, or hire them, you need to be sure that these people can be relied on. You will also want to know whether your personality can match theirs. However, our decisions are often crowded by the perceptions we have of them, and although making a snap judgment about someone seems unfair, this is something we usually do. Sometimes, even finding evidence that suggests something contrary to what you thought before is not enough to shake your first impression. For example, assume that you saw a lady and concluded that she was a lesbian based on her hair, her clothing, and other stereotypes. Later on, you found that she was dating a man. Would your first impression of her change now that you have contrary information? Or would you stick to the first impression? Life is similar to a box of chocolate in that you are never too sure of what to expect. Of course, it's chocolate, just tastes different. We learn how to judge a person based on the beliefs the society has about different kinds of people. These stereotypes could get you to trust a person that you have no business trusting and blowing off a good person. The problem now is that the frauds are too aware of these stereotypes also, and will camouflage under the pretenses, pretending to be the good kind. For this reason, do not put your trust in people based on society's generalization about a person's behavior and personality. Instead, push these assumptions to the back of your mind and focus on knowing the person at a personal level. The majority of us were raised not to ask any questions. If we did, we were considered nosy and rude, and some of us would even get a whooping. Therefore, we grew up knowing that asking questions is wrong because it makes someone feel uncomfortable. Consequently, we tend to depend on what we have heard about something or someone, or at best, rely on our gut feeling to make decisions. In addition, we do not want to put anyone in an uncomfortable space because we want them to like us and we want to seem polite. While assumptions and gut feelings have kept many of us out of trouble, a significant proportion has also got into trouble for depending on generalizations and sometimes mistaken gut feelings to make decisions. As such, these two methods need a backup plan in the form of asking questions. You need to assume less and ask more questions. Making assumptions about people. When you make assumptions about people, you come up with preconceived notions of who they are or why they behaved in the manner that they did. You will make assumptions for why a person is late to your appointment, why your mother is not picking up your calls, why your partner has not texted you, or why your boss has banged a pile of papers on your desk. Any conclusions reached based on the information you have as at now is incorrect and unfounded. These are all seeds of drama, and they can do nothing better than to distort your life. The reason we make assumptions is that we are afraid to ask questions. We assume that people think the way we do. The reason for this is that we have grown and the knowledge we have gathered with time has shaped our point of view, and this is what will guide your preconceived notions. We begin to assume that we have done wrong things when someone starts to act cold and distant, while it may have nothing to do with us. Someone else could have angered your boss, and he could think that only you would resolve the issue at hand. Therefore, when he bangs the papers on your desk, get to work immediately and stop wondering what you might have done wrong. Your boss will apologize later, and you can voice your concern about his reaction then. Take another example of a female approaching a man and being friendly to him. Besides the important issue they may have talked about, the man will think that the lady is coming on to him. This is a classic example of an assumption, and it is common across different cultures in the world. The problem with making assumptions is that we tend to believe them. We take them as the new reality, while in fact, these facts only exist in our eyes. The other party will be completely unaware of what you are seeing, and this conflict of ideas could lead to misunderstandings. In the event things go south because we acted on the assumptions, most people defend the assumptions and now blame other people for the unfortunate consequences. What's worse is that assumptions are like lies. If you tell one lie, chances are you will tell others to cover up the first one. Behind you, you leave an endless trail of lies. Assumptions are the same way. One leads to another. Once you jump into conclusions, maybe confusion, about one thing, you are likely to jump into others along the way. The result is that you lose touch with reality tremendously. The way out of a mess like that is to have facts, refer to them, and do not make assumptions. Extroversion/introversion. The person you are dealing with will either have an outgoing personality or be shy. This kind of personality type is easy to determine, even in the first 10 seconds of meeting a person. You will know this by the person's body language, excitement in the voice, eye contact, hand gestures, and animated facial expressions. All these cues will tell you how socially comfortable a person is, which is common among extroverted people. People who are not sociable are introverted. Attraction. In the culture of internet dating, you can tell whether you like someone just by looking at their appearance. You already know whether you are attracted to brunettes, blondes, black people, or others. You already know what will work for you and what will not. You are likely to be attracted to someone who is similar to you, and you will consider a person like that to be more attractive than the rest of the pack. Competence. One researcher, Alex Todorov, conducted a study to see the response that people gave to faces and found that subjects considered people with wrinkles at their eyes and thin lips to be intelligent, go-getters, and distinguished. People with baby faces were deemed to be naive, submissive, and weird, although this same group was thought to be warm, honest, and kind. Openness. Within 10 seconds of meeting someone, his body language should tell you whether he is open or not. If the person is receptive to you, his arms will be relaxed, his feet will point in your direction, the shoulders will be pulled back, and the head will be up. He will maintain eye contact, and the expressions in his face will be happy. When a person is not receptive to you, his body language will be turned inwards. His arms will be crossed. He will avoid eye contact, and his facial expressions will be disagreeable. Neuroticism. From face value, you will have an idea about a person's germophobic behavior, like fidgeting, personal hygiene, avoiding a handshake, and even repetitive behavior like whether the person bites his nails. You may assume that someone indicating this behavior suffers from anxiety, even if the fear is not apparent by any other signs. How assumptions affect the other party. Have you been in a position where someone assumed things about you that were far from the truth? Most likely, the person did not even know you enough or did not take time to confirm the assumptions with you or with someone that knows you. The result is that the person feels so hurt upon realizing the false, now accusations, that have been made against him or her. You must have seen it on TV, where a couple is continually fighting because one party makes assumptions over the other. See it on divorce court. Partners go to the show ready to end their relationships because the other has become insecure and has started making unfounded assumptions against the other. Watching all this drama even gets the audience worked up, let alone the partner about whom the premises have been made. A friend recently shared with me the reasons for his recent breakup with a longtime girlfriend. The lady kept making assumptions about him that were false majority of the time. The man would get angry and not respond to the wild, unfounded accusations. After a while, though, the man got tired of it all and ended the relationship. The lady realized the mistake she had made, but by then it was too late. The assumptions you make about a person tells him the opinion you have of him. If the assumptions are demeaning, the person will feel belittled and disrespected. If the assumptions are good, the person will feel honored, and it will even boost his esteem. Everyone wants to be treated like an object of admiration, especially by people that they just met, who know nothing about the person's past. This is the reason people move away when they want to start a new life. Therefore, instead of making assumptions that could irreparably damage a person's ego, why not ask questions you may have? A person will feel more validated, shaping your perception of him, than when he has to fight with the unfounded beliefs you have of him. Assumptions influence your reality. Buddha said that it is impossible for your worst enemy to hurt you to the extent that your thoughts would do. Majority of the assumptions we make do not lead to happy endings. Think of the assumptions you would make about a blind date that fitted a particularly negative stereotype. You assume that the person was a fraud and was only there to catfish you. You begin seeing the new business that you just started collapsing. All these are negative assumptions, and they lead to a cynical mind altogether. Things could be going so well, and all of a sudden, someone begins to think of how a disaster would come up and destroy everything around them. The ideas you have in your head come courtesy of your subconscious mind, and the good thing is that you can reprogram it to come up with more positive thoughts. You do this by deactivating all negative ideas and replacing them with positive ones that will uplift you. Here are a few steps to take to reprogram your subconscious mind successfully. Feed your mind with positive things. Once you realize that a contrary idea has planted itself in your mind, take it out and replace it with a positive one. Instead of seeing your business collapse or wondering where the next disaster will come, think about how everything could go well. Your business could start making profits again, and you could get to enjoy your peace without having to deal with any disasters and problems. Be aware and ask questions. Every time you experience a negative emotion or a positive one about someone, try to think of where that thought could have originated. Check to see that the source of the emotion you felt is valid. Associate with positive people. If you meet a person whose speech is always negative, keep off that person. You would not be walking away based on assumptions because you already have evidence that the person is spreading negativity in your life. Accommodate the people with whom you share values and those that love you for who you are. Keep the environment that you are in positive. Ensure that the stimuli that surround you are positive and uplifting. Instead of meeting with friends at a bar where people have to yell to be heard and where all manner of dangers can occur, go out with your friends for dinner and take some alcohol there if you must. The cordial atmosphere at a restaurant will allow you to connect with them better than you would at a bar. Changing all negative aspects of your life into positive ones will require attention and practice. However, once you have made these changes, you will begin to notice that the positivity will influence positive changes in your life. Asking and not guessing. Making inquiries sets you up for a deeper understanding and clarity. It means that you need to stop being passive and letting things play as they will, and instead, be actively engaged in managing the affairs that surround your life. If you set your mind on making assumptions, you will assume that your partner wants to marry you just because he gave you a key to his apartment. You will assume that you are about to be promoted just because your responsibilities were added. However, the best way to step out of the assumptions is to ask questions. Ask your partner whether he is open to marriage. Ask your boss whether you are up for a promotion. The minute you realize that you are in the assumption zone, ask yourself what evidence you have that things are as they appear. Until you have yourself a ring, do not assume that you are about to get married. This is also the case for those seeking a promotion. Until you receive your letter of appointment or your boss calls you into his office to notify you of the same, do not assume that the promotion is here yet. Keep working hard to get it. Here are some tricks to shield you from assumptions. When passing essential information, repeat what you say thrice and ask questions. If you are delegating tasks, discussing terms of a deal with someone, or engaging in other things like these, do not assume that the person will understand what you are saying from the word go. Repeat yourself at least thrice to ensure that the instructions the person is giving are clear, and once you are done with that, seek to know whether the person has understood everything you had to say. You do not want to find out that the person did something completely different weeks later. You also need to keep with you a constant reminder to avoid assumptions. For example, you could write 1 or 2 post-it notes to remind yourself to cut the assumptions and instead dig deeper into things. If someone comes to you and claims that he or she works with a particular company, don't take his or her word for it. Go ahead and confirm. Any verifiable details about people you are interacting with should be sought so that you can be sure that you are dealing with a genuine person whose details you know. Take up the habit of validation. If you make an assumption, don't stop at that. Verify that assumption with facts. For example, if you are thinking of starting a business with someone, validate your choice of him as the right business partner and not the large number of options that you have. If you are looking to start a business or to start producing a product, validate the need for what you are introducing into the market before you invest and start making losses.